Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I proudly rise today to bring you House Bill 2975A, a survivor bill that corrects a harmful legal technicality and restores a basic sense of fairness in our justice system for survivors of domestic violence. Right now, Oregon law treats strangulation and fourth-degree assault as distinct, separate crimes, except when they happen in the context of domestic violence. Why? In the 2024 State v. Miles case, the Court of Appeals ruled that when a jury finds that an offense constituted domestic violence, it essentially requires a merging of charges for multiple offenses into a single offense. Colleagues, this means that in a case where an abuser strangled, menaced, and assaulted a victim, they could only be convicted of one charge, instead of the 3 separate acts of harm they truly caused to their victim. What is even more concerning is that the State v. Miles case only conferred this interpretation to crimes of domestic violence, meaning that if those same 3 offenses, strangled, menaced, and assaulted, were committed in a non-domestic setting, the defendant would be convicted of all 3 offenses. As we know, strangulation is not just another form of assault. It is one of the most violent and life-threatening forms of domestic violence an abuser can commit. Studies show that victims who have been strangled by their abuser are 750% more likely to be killed by that abuser in a future attack. The act of strangulation can lead to long-term brain damage, changes in vision, long-term memory issues, and delayed fatal consequences. When someone strangles their partner, they are demonstrating control over whether that person lives or dies. And when a survivor lives through that, they carry not just the physical trauma, but the terrifying knowledge that next time they might not make it out. I want to share a recent case from Clackamas County where this opinion has already negatively impacted a domestic violence survivor. The defendant strangled and punched his girlfriend repeatedly, a victim he had unfortunately assaulted before. He pleaded guilty mid-trial to strangulation and assault 4, but because of the State v. Miles case, the convictions for strangulation and assault were merged, and his only conviction was for 1. This, to me, is not justice, and it is not how our system should treat survivors. Colleagues, I think the fact that this fixed bill is already before our body to address the dramatic effect the 2024 Miles case has already had on how crimes of domestic violence are treated in courtrooms across Oregon speaks to the importance of this issue. The modifier constituting domestic violence was meant to protect victims. It has helped ensure restraining orders are granted, firearms are prohibited, and child custody decisions take abuse into account. But because of how our law is currently written, applying that label weakens accountability by collapsing multiple charges into one. House Bill 2975A fixes this. It clarifies that a pleading, admission, or finding that a crime that involved domestic violence is not an element of a crime, but rather a classification that provides important protection for victims. It allows our courts to treat individual acts of harm, like strangulation and assault, as the separate harms that they are, even if they occur in a relationship, because survivors of domestic violence deserve the full protection of the law, not half measures and not loopholes. House Bill 2970A is a bill that I am very proud of. It came out of House Judiciary unanimously. It is a bill that is a reflection of months of work done by all stakeholders, including the district attorneys, defense attorneys, the courts, DOJ, and most importantly, the survivors who have been impacted by this ruling. Colleagues, being a survivor of domestic violence, it is not easy for me to stand here and carry bills like this that can be triggering, to say the least. But I made a commitment to survivors across Oregon to be their voice in a space that has not prioritized their individual lived experiences. I made a commitment to use this privilege that I get to stand here to address you, Mr. Speaker, and this chamber to fight for their right for justice and to be heard. And victims of domestic violence and strangulation deserve that justice, not legal technicalities that minimize their suffering. With that, colleagues, I urge your aye vote for House Bill 2975A. Thank you.
Those of the opinion the bill should pass will vote aye. Those opposed, no. The clerk will open the voting system. House Bill 2975, having received the constitutional majority, is declared passed.